What's going on today, guys? It's me, Shining Gun Gameplays, and as I promised in my Dark Magician deck video, I was going to bring you a full breakdown of my Blue Eyes deck as well. So, the way that these decks work is very similar with each other. They're always going to be cycling all of their cards from their deck, from the hand, to the graveyard. Then you could recycle them out of your graveyard onto the field, or you could cycle them from your deck straight to the field. So, in any of these meta decks that you're going to run to where you see the mainstream monsters, because they're normal monsters, you always want to run 3 of them in your deck. 3 of them in your deck makes it the most consistent. I love running 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. You're going to want to run 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. No matter what the situation, just like my Dark Magician deck, I ran 3 Dark Magicians. You're going to want to run 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. It's a very good 3000 beat stick. It allows you to synchro summon. It allows you to XYZ summon all of your monsters. You could link it away with Link Spider, get it off the field, which will proc your True Light. True Light is the eternal soul of the Blue Eyes deck. They just added it. Now, I won't lie, this one's a little worse, and it's a little better, and I'll get into that later. So the card we're going to move on to next is the White Stone of Legend. This is a security card in case you need it. It's a card that you're always going to run in your deck, but you're never going to want to run more than one, simply for the fact of there's a lot other means to get Blue Eyes from your deck to your hand. It's just a very good security card in case your hand is either bricky or you can't get your Blue Eyes out. So what this does is, if this card is sent to the graveyard, just add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand. Very simple effect, very effective effect. So I'm going to move on to the Sage with the Eyes of Blue. When this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 level 1 light tuner from your deck to your hand except Sage with the Eyes of Blue. You can discard this card, then target 1 effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, you can only use this effect of Sage with the Eyes of Blue once per turn. Now, it says you can only use this effect with Sage of Eyes of Blue, so it's not a hard once per turn. So if you have other copies with Sage with Eyes of Blue in your hand, you can activate them because it's a different card. It says this effect, so which means it's basing it off of this card. So in a situation where where you could use this soft once per turn ability is, let's say you have 2 Sage with Eyes of Blue in your hand and you have a White Stone of Ancients. So the way that this would work is you would activate Sage with Eyes of Blue's ability. You would normal summon the White Stone of Ancients, you would activate the Sage with Eyes of Blue's ability, get the White Stone of Ancients off of your field, get your Sage with Eyes of Blue from your hand to the graveyard, you get to special summon a Blue Eyes monster. Then what that's going to do is it's going to open up your field just a little bit more, and it's going to make you be able to do some pretty sick combos. So what you would do is, from there, if you have another tuner monster, you could also activate your second Sage with the Eyes of Blue's ability to be able to get Dragon Spirit of White out, which would banish a back row for free. Literally for doing almost effortless work. It's fucking crazy, and I really think they need to make Sage with the Eyes of Blue's a hard once per turn, simply for the fact of it says this card effect. So it specifically designates a singular Sage with the Eyes of Blue. I don't know if that's a typo, I don't know if it's something they fucked up on, but I really think that Sage with Eyes of Blue needs to be a hard once per turn, simply for the fact of you have multiple copies in your deck and you could use multiple copies effects on one turn, simply for the fact it's not a hard once per turn ability. So the way you would applicate his first ability is, if you don't have your White Stone of Ancients or your White Stone of Legend in your hand, you would normal summon him, get it to your field, you would normal summon him, get Sage to your field. That would pop the ability. You would always go for the White Stone of Ancients. Always. Simply for that ability that it gets when it's in the graveyard. So, ideally, you would have the White Stone of Ancients in your hand, and you would either have Melody of Awakening Dragon or, where is it? Fuck! You'd ideally have a White Stone of Ancients in your hand, and you'd use Cards of Consonance if you're in a sticky situation. You can run more than 1 Cards of Consonance, but it's not necessarily a need, simply for the fact of this card already has this deck already has 6 other draw cards. So moving on from the Sage with Eyes of Blue, we're going to get into the White Stone of Ancients. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can special summon one Blue Eyes monster from your deck. You could banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. So the way that this would work is you could combo it off of a lot of things. You could combo it off of Sage with Eyes Blue's ability. You could combo it off of Dragon Levianeer's ability. You could combo it off of the Melody of Awakening Dragon. You could freaking, technically, if you're playing it smart, you could combo it off of Torrential Tribute. What you do is you'd summon your White Stone of Ancients, your Torrential Tribute would already be on the field. It's basically a very good board wipe that gives you a card advantage. So let's say you summon your White Stone of Ancients, your opponent has fucking 182 boss monsters on the field. What you do is summon your White Stone of Ancients, pop your Torrential Tribute, get this to your graveyard, which will proc his graveyard ability at the end of the effect, or at the end of the turn, while also being able to board wipe your opponent. So ideally, if you're in this situation, you're just going to want to put the White Stone of Ancients on the field, pop your Torrential Tribute, it'll activate the White Stone of Ancients ability at the end of the turn, give you a Blue Eyes to the field. Pretty fucking awesome. So the way that his second ability works is you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Now, because of the, I almost said Eternal Soul, because of True Light, you don't necessarily need to target Blue Eyes White Dragon because it's always getting them from your hand or your graveyard. You could special summon Blue Eyes from your hand or graveyard. Very broken, so ideally what you're going to want to do is either target your Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon or target your Dragon Spirit of White. Get them to your hand as soon as possible because, like I said, it always cycles your Blue Eyes from your deck to your graveyard, back to your hand, onto the field, into the graveyard, back to your hand. It's very, 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 very overpowered. I love the White Stone of Ancients. It's an absolute staple, and I think it's honestly the best freaking Blue Eyes support card that they've ever released, ever. It's very broken, it's very strong, and there's just so many applications that you could use the White Stone of Ancients for. So moving on to Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by revealing Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. So the reason why this has the must first be special summoned is it pops off of True Light. True Light can bring your alternative Blue Eyes White Dragon back simply for the fact of right here. This little badass effect right here is pretty fucking broken. This card's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. True Light, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Get your Blue Eyes White Dragon. This counts as a Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can special summon Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon from your graveyard with the effect of True Light. His second, or technically I guess third ability would be once per turn you can target one monster your opponent controls. This card can't attack, destroy it. This card can't attack the effect the turn this effect was activated. So the way that I would do this, I would special summon my Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, and depending on the situation that I'm in, I'll special summon Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon by using his effect by revealing a Blue Eyes, because you're guaranteed to have a Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand basically at all times. What I would do is I would pop the ability to destroy one card, and then I'd either synchro summon away your Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon with one of your level 1 tuners. It gets you a free monster destroy while also still being able to attack with the monster you either synchro summoned or XYZ summoned. So you would either synchro summon away your Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon or XYZ summon him away after activating his ability, which will proc True Light. You get him back on the field. You get your beat stick of whatever you want, whatever card floats your boat. Ideally, you're going to want to either do Dragooblion or Hard Earth Dragon, but like I said, it's up to preference of what situation you're in. So Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon is very good. You're always going to want to get Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon off of True Light's ability, and if you're in a sticky situation where you don't have True Light and you still need your Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, you would pop your White Stone of Ancients in your graveyard, get him back to your hand, special summon him. See? I love how everything in these decks just work together. It's fucking awesome, and I love this shit. So Dragon Spirit of White. This card is always treated as a Blue Eyes card. I wish it would have said this card is always treated as Blue Eyes White Dragon, because you'd be able to pop True Light off of it, but that's not how the way that the card is worded. I don't know why. I guess it would make the Blue Eyes deck a little too overpowered, so I guess they didn't want to have that, because when it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can target one spell or trap card your opponent controls and banish it. So if you're constantly able to cycle your Dragon Spirit of White, you're going to keep banishing. And I think that's why they didn't count it as a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Just for the fact it would be an overpowered ability because it's not once per turn. You could always just cycle it off of your field and keep banishing, so that's why it's not treated as a Blue Eyes White Dragon. But anyway, this card is treated as a normal monster while in the hand or in the graveyard. That effect really doesn't matter, but this effect does. This is the effect I was telling you about. When this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can target one spell or trap card your opponent controls, banish it. If your opponent controls a monster, you can tribute this card, special summon one Blue Eyes from your hand. You're never going to want to do that. You're just going to want to be able to pop his banish ability. It's very good with the White Stone of Ancients in case your opponent has something set. Let's say they fucking put 3 cards face down on the field in their spells and trap zones. What you're going to want to do is pop the White Stone of Ancients ability at the end of their turn. They won't be able to activate their cards because they just summoned him on that turn. So what you do is pop the White Stone of Ancients, get your Dragon Spirit of White from your deck, and banish a back row. Very, very good. I love Dragon Spirit of White. A lot of people say you only need to run 1, but I run 2 just for that extra security. So next is Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be first special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 light and or dark monsters from your graveyard. When this card is summoned this way, you can activate this effect. Apply the following effect based on the attributes of the banished monsters for the special summon. Also, this card can't attack for the rest of the turn. So that is a little bit of a bad thing, but it's just good if you have your 3 Sages with Eyes of Blue in your graveyard, or you have your White Stone of Legend in the graveyard. You can pop Dragon Levianeer, special summon him, activate his ability, special summon 1 monster in defense position from your graveyard. You could choose whatever card you want. Ideally, you could you could choose a White Stone of Ancients from his ability, summon the White Stone of Ancients in defense position, synchro summon both. You get your freaking Dragon Spirit of White or your Azure-Eyes Silver Dragon. At the end of the turn, that'll once again pop the White Stone of Ancients ability, special summon a Blue Eyes from your deck. It's pretty fucking crazy. I love Dragon Levianeer. It's one of my favorite cards. It's very good if you need... Keep in mind, if I said it's very good if you need to Xyz summon, because you're literally just special summoning by banishing 3 light or 3 dark monsters. So it allows you to get that extra little piece of equipment that you would need for either Draglubion or your Photon or your Hard Earth Dragon. Like, it's a very good card to have in this deck, and any Blue Eyes deck that I've ever seen has always ran Chaos Dragon Levianeer. So, moving on to Nebula Dragon, this is a very good card simply for the fact it's a Dragon Light tuner. So, it works with your Gozen match, it works with your Rivalry of Warlords, and it's a very, very good way how to unblock your hand. You could reveal this card at 1 level 8. You could reveal this card and 1 other level 8 dragon type monster in your hand, special summon them both in defense position, but their effects are negated. Also, you cannot special summon monsters except light monsters or dark monsters for the rest of this turn. You could banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 level 4 light or dark dragon monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So this card is a very good way how to unblock your hand. Say you're in a situation to where you literally just cannot get Blue Eyes out. There's something wrong with your hand, you have Nebula Dragon, you have Blue Eyes, and you have a bunch of these traps. You'd set your traps down, activate Nebula Dragon's ability, it'll allow you to special summon Nebula Dragon and Blue Eyes White Dragon to your field, then you would Xyz away for either Draglubion or Hard Earth Dragon. Very good to have in the deck, it's very good to unblock your hand. I love Nebula Dragon, and I wanted to thank, once again, Team Samurai X1 for recommending me to put Nebula Dragon into my deck, simply for the fact of it's so broken. I love Nebula Dragon, and I recommend you to get it, especially because it's only a normal rare card, dude. It's the easiest card in this deck to get. It's very, very good, and I would recommend it to anybody. So next we're going to get into our spells, and we're actually running very minimal spells. We're just running draw spells. So in any situation that you're in, you're always going to ideally want to do the White Stone of Ancients when you're discarding to draw the 2 cards, or you're discarding 1 card to add your dragon monsters. You're always going to want to pop the White Stone of Ancients, or at least the White Stone of Legends, so you get their abilities when they go to the graveyard, or the White Stone of Ancients ability at the end of the turn when it's in the graveyard. You can special summon a Blue Eyes straight from your deck. and you get to either draw 2 cards, or you get to use Melody of the Awakening Dragon and get 2 dragons with 3,000 attack and 2,500 or more or less defense from your deck. So use trade in, discard your Blue Eyes. So the way that you're going to want to run this is with trade in, you discard your Blue Eyes White Dragon, draw 2 cards that'll pop your True Light, or you could use the Melody of Awakening Dragon, pop one of your tuners into the graveyard, get Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon and your normal Blue Eyes White Dragon from Melody of the Awakening Dragon's ability. Then you'd be able to special summon your Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon from the effect of his ability, because with the Melody of Awakening Dragon, you've got your Blue Eyes and you've got your Blue Eyes Alternative in one go. It's a very good combo breaker. It's very good to have these draw cards. It's very good to have Melody of the Awakening Dragon. You're going to want to run 3 trade-ins. You're going to want to run 3 Melody of Awakening Dragons. And then for the final spell is just a card of consonance. Most of the time you're going to be using it on the White Stone of Ancient, simply for the fact of these 2 cards are almost pretty much the hardest cards to draw in your deck, because there's only 1 copy of each. So depending on your situation that you're in, you're going to want to pop it with the White Stone of Legends, or if you're in a sticky position and you need to draw 2 cards, what you're going to want to ideally do is you're going to want to pop your White Stone of Ancients into your graveyard. That'll activate his effect at the end of the turn. You get a free Blue Eyes right now, and it's fucking, you get to have that +2 in card advantage. So you're literally getting a +2 in card advantage, and you're getting a Blue Eyes White Dragon either in your hand or on the field, which is fucking great. I love it, dude. I really, 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 really love it. It's fucking pretty much broken. It's very good to have these draw cards in your deck, simply for the fact of it gets to cycle all your shit. So after that, we're going to get into Torrential Tribute. Now, the way that I already said Torrential Tribute works is, ideally, when you have Torrential Tribute, you're going to want to have the White Stone of Ancients on the field, and it's a very good cycle card to use, because if you have White Stone of Ancients on your field, what you do is pop Torrential Tribute, destroy all your opponent's monsters, you would destroy your White Stone of Ancients, which would bring you a Blue Eyes to your deck straight to the field, which you could choose Dragon Spirit of White, banish a back row. Very good to have Torrential Tribute in your deck. I love this card. It's very, very good, and it's rare. It's very easy to get. Super, super good. Now, this is the strongest trap card I personally think in the game right now, as in terms of what you can do to your opponent. So target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon it to your side of the field, but its effects are negated. Then you could banish 1 monster from both players' fields with the same type as each other. So always what you're going to want to do is get the same attribute card of a boss monster your opponent has on the field, get that card from their graveyard, then you'll be able to banish their boss monster and the card you chose from their graveyard. It's pretty fucking broken, dude. You get a free double banish that's going to completely break their deck, because more than likely any card that they're going to send to the graveyard is going to ping an ability out of their graveyard to be able to summon more shit. So if you could banish their boss monster along with their combo monster, it's fucking GG, dude. It's simple as that. It is GG. Ice Dragon's Prison is the strongest trap card I think they've ever fucking released. So yesterday, or not yesterday, the day before yesterday, I already told you guys what Solemn Judgment and Solemn Strike do. They were unbanned. They're very, very strong cards that you're going to want to run in any deck, maybe even along with Ice Dragon's Prison. I literally do not see a reason why you wouldn't run all 3 of these cards in your deck and then not have 2 copies of them. You can run 3, but like I said, it'll end up with a more offensive version of your deck, but your deck is going to be a little bit more blocky. So it's up to preference. I run 2 Ice Dragon Prisons, I run 2 Solemn Judgments, and 2 Solemn Strikes. Simply for the fact of, if you're going to break your opponent's combo or break their strategy of what they're doing, more than likely, you're only going to need to activate Solemn Strike or Solemn Judgment once, and then it's an instant GG. So, very good cards, very good staple cards to have in your deck, and I recommend it to anybody. So this is the card that I was talking about in my Dark Magician video. Each player can only control one type of monster. Almost every single fucking card in this deck is a dragon. And even if it's not a dragon type, you're always going to be able to proc it off the field. So, there's literally no reason you shouldn't run Rivalry of Warlords. It can literally break your opponent. Now, this card is very situational, like I said in my Dark Magician deck video, because Rivalry of Warlords is one type of monster. A lot of the time, a lot of opponents' monsters are always going to be the same type, either Dragon, Spellcaster, Beast, Warrior, Warrior Beast, Winged Beast. You get the idea. It's just to have extra security. Skill Drain, I have literally already told you how broken this card is, and it is so fucking broken. I repeat, this card is so fucking broken with decks that have cards like Eternal Soul or True Light in them. Skill Drain, activate this card by paying 1,000 life points, negate all effects of face-up monsters that are on their field, but their effects can still be activated. So the reason why Skill Drain says that is, let's say your opponent activates an effect that allows them to mill from their deck into their graveyard. They'll mill their cards from their deck to their graveyard, and then Skill Drain is going to negate the ability. So literally, what they're doing is they're milling out their deck for no fucking reason at all. They can't combo off of it because of Skill Drain. Said it before, this card needs to be banned. I don't understand why it's not. It's fucking broken, especially in today's meta. If one card can win you a whole duel, I feel like it should be banned. Goes in match, you already know what it does. Each player can only control one attribute of a monster. Send all other face-up monsters to the field. This deck is all light monsters, so literally Goes in Match is literally a very, very, very good card, simply for the fact of you don't run any other types or attributes of monsters besides light cards. So it's very good to have Goes in Match. It's a very good way to, again, floodgate your opponent and win the duel. So we're moving on to True Light, and this is the part where I said True Light is in a way better and in a way worse than your freaking Eternal Soul. Your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragon monsters in your monster zones with card effects. See, with Eternal Soul, it literally just says your Dark Magicians are unaffected by any card effects that your opponent has. This one has a specific target effect, so that's what makes it a little bit worse. It has the same effect as Eternal Soul. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, I don't know why it says Spell and Trap Zone. It's too complicated. They should have just said if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. You can activate one of these following effects per turn. Special summon one Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or your graveyard. This is where it gets a little, how do I say it? This is where it gets a little bit better than your Eternal Soul. Set one spell or trap card directly from your deck that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon in its text with a different name from the cards you control and in your graveyard. So in this deck, you're not going to worry about that second ability, but if you're running like the Ultimate Creature of Destruction in your deck, if you have 3 copies for extra protection, Eternal Soul is going to allow you to completely set it with literally nothing at all. You literally get to set the Ultimate Creature of Destruction from your deck straight onto the field. Very good protection card. It literally makes an invincible Blue Eyes for 1 turn. I would suggest Ultimate Creature of Destruction, but this is just a more consistent combo deck of this version of Blue Eyes. So moving on to our extra deck monsters, we have a Azure-Eyes Silver Dragon, 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner normal monster. This card is special summon until the end of next turn. Neither player can target monsters you currently control with card effects. Also, they can't be destroyed by card effects. So that's just basically extra protection. And then here's his second ability. Once per turn during your standby phase, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Always going to be Blue Eyes. So it's literally like having an extra Eternal Soul on the field. It's like having an extra True Light on the field without having True Light on the field. Like I said, it's another security card. It adds protection to your dragon monsters so you don't have to worry about them getting fucked over. It's a very good protection card. It's a very good special summon card. You're always going to run one of these cards in your deck. Moving on to Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Okay, Blue Eyes monsters. 1 tuner or 1 or more non-tuner Blue Eyes monsters. Neither player can special summon more than 2 cards at one time. So this is a very good way how to break your opponent's deck. It's a very good way how to be able to fuck your opponent over. let's say if they're doing their fucking 100 billion wombo mambo combo and you can't do shit about it, you're going to want to summon Blue Eyes Alternative White, or not Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. It's going to stop them from doing their wombo mambo combos. Next is the second ability. Once per turn, when an effect of a card in the graveyard is activated, which will almost always be you, you can negate the activation, which that's not good. You're only going to want to negate the activation if it's on your opponent's monster, which they're always going to be cycling shit from your graveyard because, hey, that's the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! So you can negate the activation of their graveyard effect. You could tribute this synchro summon, special summon one light synchro monster from your extra deck in defense position, but destroy it at the end of the phase. So the way that this would work is if you're trying to get, where is it? These cards. If you're trying to get your level 9 monsters that are Xyz out on the field, you're going to want to use Blue Eye Spirit Dragon's ability. You could pop his ability, get another level 9, and then you could Xyz summon out. It's a very good card to have in case you need that extra security. You're always going to run 2, and it's just a very good card to be able to break boards, but also be able to help your board stay good at the same time. So 2 Dragon Spirits of White is a must-have. So number 100 Numeron Dragon, 2 number XYZs with the same name and rank. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to be able to get this on the field. I see a lot of people use it in this deck. I still haven't figured out how to get it out. Maybe I'm just not paying attention enough. But once per turn, you detach 1 material from this card. It gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all XYZ monsters currently on the field times 1,000 until the end phase of your opponent's next turn. When this card is destroyed by card effect, you can destroy as many monsters on the field as possible with a minimum of 1. Then each player sets 1 spell or trap card from their graveyard to their field. It's a good way to get True Light back on the field if your opponent destroys it and you don't have your other copies. So, moving on from that, when a monster declares an attack while this card is in your graveyard and you have no cards in your hand or field, you can just special summon this card. It's a very good Narada card to where you can freaking always have that extra protection, always have a beat stick on the field. It's a very good card to cycle into your graveyard. You're always going to want to cycle Numeron Dragon into your graveyard because it can constantly bring itself back no matter the situation. So moving on to Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. 3 level 8 monsters. 3 level 8 monsters isn't a hard requirement in this deck, especially if you have shit like Nebula Dragon. It's not a very hard requirement. You could also XYZ summon this monster using Galaxy Eyes Xyz monsters you control, except Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. Transfer its materials to this card. Yeah. Once per turn, you can target up to 2 equipped cards equipped to this card, attach them as materials. Yeah. You can attach them as materials. That's pretty fucking broken. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy it. So literally, this card will never not have materials. It's always going to have materials no matter what the fuck happens. It's going to have materials. So moving on to Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon. 2 level 8 monsters, very easy, especially with this deck. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ monster, or you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Monsters you control cannot attack directly for this turn except this turn. So, I mean, that's kind of like a bad, it's kind of like a bad effect, but here it is. Also, take control of the targeted monster until the end phase. But while this effect is applied, it has its effects negated. So, that is very, very, very fucking good. If your opponent has a crazy monster out on the field that has a negate ability and is a really powerful beat stick, activate Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon's ability. You get to take control of that monster. You have a beat stick with 3,000 attack. It literally boosts that card's attack to 3,000, no matter what it is. So you're either weakening their monster when you give it back to them, or you're boosting their monster's effect when you take it from them. Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon is a card that I would always fucking recommend because it's fucking broken. I love it, have it. Live it, love it, need it, got it. Okay? So next we're moving on to number 97, Draglubion Dragon. 2 level 8 monsters, like I said, not a hard requirement. Your opponent cannot target this card with effects. Yeah, opponent can't target this card with card effects. So the only reason why that's bad is because it says target. Cards like Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment can still affect it. You can detach 1 material from this card, take 2 number monsters with different names from your extra deck, except number 97 Draglubion, special summon one of them, and attach the other one as material. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon other monsters or declare an attack except with that special summon monster. Ideally, you're always going to want to special summon Numeron Dragon, or you can special summon your Cipher Dragon. Very good to have in the deck. It's very good security. I love Draglubion. It's a very broken card, and you should always have it in your deck. So moving on to number 92, Heart Earth Dragon. 3 level 9 monsters. Like I said, that one's really hard because I don't necessarily know how to get all the level 9s out. Like, this deck doesn't have many level 9s, is what I'm trying to say. So, Heart Earth Dragon can be very situational, but it can be very good. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, your opponent takes any damage you would have taken from attacks involving this card, meaning if you have Heart Earth Dragon, you attack their 5,000 beat stick, they're taking 5,000 damage. Yeah. You attack with this card, you attack their 5,000 beat stick, they're taking the 5,000 damage. Pretty fucking crazy, dude. During your opponent's end phase, you can detach 1... This is why this card is broken. You can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, banish all cards your opponent controls that were normal summoned, special summoned, or set this turn. Instant board wipe, dude. Instant fucking board wipe. This card is destroyed while it has an XYZ material. You can special summon this card from your graveyard, brings itself back, and if summoned this way, it gains 1,000 attack for every card banished. This motherfucker board wiped your opponent. You're gonna have, at the max, 10,000 attack on this card. At the max, you're gonna have 10,000 attack on this card. Realistically, you're gonna have somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000. Simply the fact of how much your opponent can chain and combo and all that yada yada bullshit. So moving on to the Galaxy Eye Cipher Blade Dragon. You can also XYZ summon this card by using a rank 8 Galaxy Eyes monster XYZ you control. It's one of these guys. Very good to have. Stops you from having to use level 9 monsters. Also, this card transfers material. Cannot be used as material for an XYZ summon. So this card can't be used for XYZ summons. That's not a big deal because this is literally one of your strongest cards in your deck. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 card in the field, destroy it. If this XYZ summon card is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon in your graveyard, special summon it. You're going to use Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon to summon Cipher Blade Dragon. Instant GG. So do you see how this deck works, you guys? It's always cycling, it's always floodgating, you're always drawing cards, you're always drawing shit that you need. This is, by far, I think, the best Blue Eyes deck you could possibly make. And I want to thank you guys for staying tuned and coming to watch my Blue Eyes breakdown video, because I know a lot of you requested it. So, it's been me, Shining On Gameplays. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.